guys, so for the first look we're going to be doing the half up half down fishtail braid. So just divide your hair into two sections in the front about this size, and make sure it's parted where you want it to be parted, and then you're just going to be doing a fishtail in the back. So for those of you who don't know how to fishtail, it's pretty simple, especially when you have braids in. So you're just taking one braid from the outer side of each part and bringing it to the center and making sure to pull tight so you have that fishtail effect. So you just continue down in that pattern. So as you can see, I'm pulling a braid from the outside and bringing it into the center and pulling tight. And I'm going to speed it up because I just do that all the way down to the bottom. So then you just want to take a regular black rubber band to finish the end of that braid so it doesn't come out. And that's the end of this look. I love it because it's so simple, but it adds a little something extra with having the fishtail in the back. So my fishtail turned out a little bit crooked, but it's the same idea. Just make sure that you take your time to make sure it ends up straight and that you're pulling evenly on each side. Okay, so the second look is that twist that transitioned into a fishtail. So I'm starting by sectioning off a part of my hair in the front. I'm doing a side part, but you can do whatever part you want. So then I'm just flat twisting that against my head. So flat twisting is when you just twist the hair, but pick up braids as you go along, just so that the twist lays flat to your head. So I'm going to twist this down past my ear, but you don't have to go all the way down to the bottom because you're going to incorporate it into your fishtail. And then I'm just taking a black elastic band to secure the end of that so it doesn't unravel. Now I'm just pulling the rest of my hair forward for the large fishtail. So the first step is to bring the twist, kind of cover the twist with some of the other hair so you don't see that elastic band and it looks like it's kind of flowing seamlessly into that. So we learned how to fishtail in the last look. It's just the same idea, except now you're using bigger sections for the fishtail. And you want to make sure that it's tight all the way along, just so that it's clear that it's a fishtail. So then I'm just grabbing an elastic band to add to the end of that fishtail just so that it doesn't unravel. And that is the end of this look. So my favorite thing about this look is the fact that it looks like the twist is continuing from the top of where your flat twist starts and ends at the bottom of the fishtail, which I think is really cool. Okay, so this third look is my all-time favorite. It's just, as you can see in the picture above, two pigtails on top of the half up, half down look. So what you want to do is, again, just make sure you part your hair where you want it to be parted, and then section off 8 individual braids on one side of that. Okay, so now you just want to pull out 2 braids in the front of the section that you just created and grab a black elastic band and tie those 2 braids together pretty tight, but not so tight that you'll hurt your edges. I pulled it a little too tight, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. The next section is 3 braids, and you're just following the same process. Take an elastic band, except tie that first section you created and this new section together pretty tight. And then you'll see I'll do that again with another section of 3 braids. And then just go ahead and repeat the same steps on the other side. So 8 braids starting with 2, into your 3 braids, and into another section of 3. Okay, so now I'm taking 2 gold clasps and adding them to the front of the pigtails, just to make it look, I don't know, I like the way it looks with the 2 clasps on it. So if you have a clasp, you can easily just squeeze them on this way. And that is the end of this 3rd look. Okay, so for this 4th look, we kind of have a crossed crown that transitions into 2 pigtails. So you want to start off by creating 4 braids in the front of your head, again parted where you want it to be parted, and these braids can be made up of 3 individual braids each. Okay, now that you've finished your 4 braids, you don't have to worry about putting elastic bands at the end, just because they're so small that they likely won't come out. So you want to part your hair in the back, kind of down the middle, and then you want to grab 2 hair ties that you're going to use. So then you're just going to be crossing those 4 braids over each other. So if you start with the first braid on the right, you want to lay that down, crossing over to connect with the ponytail on the left. Then you want to take the left one and cross it over that right one you just crossed, and then you want to take your second right braid and cross it over the left one, and then the left one finally over that right one. And make sure when you cross them that they're connecting to the opposite ponytail. I know the way that I did it was a little bit confusing to watch, but if you follow the instructions I just laid out, it should be really easy. And then to finish off this look, you just want to add hair ties to create those pigtails, and that is the end of this. Okay, so for look 5, we have another half up, half down look. So to make things easier, I left in 2 of the braids from the previous look. I'm just going to be taking the rest of my hair kind of from the halfway point of the middle of your head to the front. I'm just taking the rest of that hair up and making it into a bun. I create this bun by wrapping the braids around each other, as I'm doing here, and I kind of like having a smaller bun if possible, so I try to wrap that as tight as possible. And you can also try twisting the hair that you sectioned off before and wrapping that around if you want a tight look, a smaller bun look. And if you happen to have braids sticking out like I did, just grab an extra elastic and tie those down. And that is all for the 5th look. Okay, so for the 6th look, we have another half up, half down. I'm just starting off by sectioning 3 braids out in the middle of the front of my head and braiding those down. And then after this, I'm going to be making 2 bigger braids on both sides of this braid that I'm making now, which will be made out of 6 braids each. Next, you want to connect all 3 braids in the back of your head with another black elastic band. And then I originally did not unbraid the excess past the rubber band, but I ended up doing that later. It's totally up to you. And that is the end of the final look. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you found a hairstyle that you're going to try out this summer. And comment down below what your favorite hairstyle was and what you'd like to see from me in the future. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and follow me on my social media, which I'll link all below and in this video somewhere. So thanks so much. Bye.